Okay, third graders, today's math lesson, we are going to be talking about math action words. And we need to know our math action words in order to be successful at word problems. And in our word problem practice on Monday and Tuesday, I'm noticing that we need to strengthen our knowledge on math action words. So when we read them, we know exactly what to do, what operation we need to do. And when I say operation, I mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I mean them all because you know all four. We haven't talked about division in a while, but you know what dividing is. You know that dividing means you are making equal shares. You are splitting things into equal groups. You know that a quotient, we're going to review the word quotient here, means it's the answer of a division problem. So we also know that usually in division, we might see equal parts, something's equally shared. So we know all four operations. So we're ready to go to the next level. We're ready to know what to do when we see these action words in a word problem. Let's focus. We're going to focus, and we'll come back to division, but we'll focus on addition. Now, you're third graders. You've been working on addition for quite some time in your life. That's nothing new. Some addition action words are total. So when you're adding two numbers together, like 24 plus 23, you are combining those two numbers together to get a total. You are combining those things together to get a total. I could add the word combined in here. That's a good one to add. Or combined. So to get the sum, which is another action word for addition, I need to add both of those numbers together so I can get a total amount, meaning in all, if I have 24 shoes and my friend has 23 shoes, how many shoes do we have all together? Well, I know 20 plus 20 is 40. I know 4 and 3 is 7. So that would be all together, my sum would be 47. So you know these words when we're solving equations. So why not know them when we're solving word problems? Also, some other clue words that you are going to have to add is when you see words like increase. When something needs to be increased. The time was increased or something was increased. All together is another way of saying in all. And sometimes when you're combining something, you might see the word and. Both. They both have. Okay? Now, what's different between addition and multiplication? This is very important. You don't have equal groups, okay? Now, can you add equal groups? Absolutely. But sometimes in multiple step problems, you might be required to add before you multiply or divide. So if you need to recognize that if you don't have equal groups, you're just going to have to add the old-fashioned way, okay? Lining your numbers up and adding them. Let's talk about, next one we're going to talk about is multiplication, because addition and multiplication are partners. We're going to talk about that next. So, big difference between addition and multiplication is that word each and per, equal groups. When we have equal groups of stuff, things that can be laid out in equal rows and equal columns, for instance, we know that we can quickly add through multiplication, okay? Because remember, all multiplication is repeated addition. So it's just a fast way to add if you think about it. But only if you have equal groups. That's very important. So if you see in a word problem, each, there were 5 canoes and they each had 2 dogs in them, you know that you can multiply to find out how many dogs in all. You know, a product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Multiply, you know that. Sometimes word problems just say, hey, you have to multiply. Times is another word we use to say multiply. Sometimes when you're doubling something, like that's twice as much, you can easily multiply by 2. Like Sophia had 4 popsicle sticks. However, Jack had twice as many popsicle sticks. So you could say, oh, well, 2 times 4 is 8. So maybe Jack has 8. It's twice as one you can use. And as much. You might see the words total in all of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and add. We're always trying to find total. Actually, not in division. I'm sorry. Total. You will see like total maybe in subtraction 4. If you have anything that's left, what's the total? So you might see that in subtractions total. You will see it in multiplication. Multiplication might also have some of the same words that addition has, like you might see increase in multiplication. The big thing, the big difference is those equal groups of. Let's make sure you're aware of that. Let's talk about subtraction. You know subtraction. You're third graders. 20 minus 5. 20 minus 5 is 15. If I had 20 puppies and I sold 5 of them, I gave 5 away. How many do I have left? I gave some away. Gave away. Take away. 20 puppies to start. I sold 5. How many do I have left in total? 15. Notice how my number decreased. If I need to find the difference, what's the difference? I need to subtract. Less. He had less. He had 5 less. Jack had 5 pairs of shoes, and Victoria had 2 less. How many does Victoria have? Fewer. Now, division can be a little tricky sometimes. Big thing about division and subtraction is you need to ask yourself this. In your word problem, do you start with a total? Because if you start with a total, then most likely you're going to be subtracting or dividing, okay? Now, if you're splitting something into equal parts or shared groups, then you are dividing. Remember, multiplication and division are reversed operations. So equal groups, you're going to see equal groups in each of those. Shared, equal parts of. You might see each, somebody gets each of something, because when you're dividing, you're splitting up in equal groups, or you're finding how many things can go into equal groups or items. Divide. Out of. Okay, every is a good hint. Split up. Quotient is, like I said before, the answer to a division problem. Now, this is going to take some practice really identifying these. So what we're going to do today is that we're going to sort. I have a word sort for you to do, but it's a math word sort. And we're going to look for those action math words. Now, to show you word problem here. I'm just gonna flip through some of these word problems. We saw this one yesterday, and we're gonna find those action words, okay? So here, I'm just searching for action words. Here's each. Here is left, away. Those are some action words. They're telling me it looks like just by looking at this and not reading the whole thing, I see left and away. I know that there's going to be some kind of subtraction happening. Okay? Thrown away, even. Each, meaning I have equal groups of something here. So we solved this one yesterday. We know that this is a two-part word problem. Let's look at this one. Ooh, rows. I should have added that in our multiplication problem category. Rows is a keyword. How many dances are on the team? If you could say in total. So how many could even indicate that you're finding the total. How many dancers are on the team? You have 4 rows of 6 dancers. Each. Here it is. Each. Let me erase this. Each is the key word here. I'm going to have to multiply. So we're just flipping through these, finding those key action words or things that could be add-ons to the action words we already talked about. Here's fewer. Oh, fewer. The train has 77 seats. Hey, that's a total. I start with the total. I bet I'm going to have to subtract because I see the word fewer. Another train has 32 fewer seats. How many seats are on both trains? So one train has 77 seats. Another train has 32 fewer seats. How many seats are on both trains? So am I trying to find how many seats are on both trains all together? That means that I am going to have to add after I subtract. Let's go ahead and look at this one. Lucy baked 43 cookies. She and her 2 friends shared. Ooh, I might be dividing here equally. How many cookies did each girl receive? And look, I'm starting with the total. That's not a keyword, but I know that I started with 43 cookies and I'm sharing things equally. I'm going to be dividing here. So notice that those keywords are called keywords and called action words because without them, we wouldn't know what to do in a magical word problem. So we're gonna have lots of practice just identifying those. And maybe even next time we meet, we might be sorting through word problems and trying to identify the action that we need to do. Maybe just one-step word problems to start. So we're going to be doing this all year with word problems and reading them closely. So let's go ahead and look at our activity for today. Okay, 3rd grade, this is your activity. It is in Schoology, and what you're going to have to do is you are going to do a keyword math sort. You're going to take all these action words, and I want you to try your best, okay? And sort them accordingly. I want to know what you know. We reviewed them in this lesson. However, like I said before, this is going to take some time. So we will talk about this in the morning. I want you to complete this activity so you're ready for tomorrow's lesson. And you're going to take these words and you're going to slide them where you believe they go. And I'm going to give you a hint. Some of these are going to have multiple keywords in here that fit different operations. For instance, I'm just going to go ahead and give you this one. Groups of, okay? Now, groups of, if we have equal groups of, we can be multiplying, but also you're going to see groups of over here because it goes somewhere else. You're right. You said division. You're right. Both of them have groups. When you're multiplying, you are multiplying. You have equal groups of the same amount, and you are multiplying them. Like you have 4 rows of 5. You have 4 groups of 5. You can multiply 4 times 5 to find the answer, the total amount. Speaking of total, you're going to see total here a lot. Total, total, right? Oh, actually, we're not going to say total amount there because you always start with the total when you're dividing. I'm going to move that up there to addition. But you do have another total there. And I'm just going to tell you, because I told you that in our little lesson, that that's for subtraction. Because when you subtract something, you want to know what you have after that. So you might see total in even a subtraction word problem. So I just gave you an example of how to go about sorting these key action words. And we're doing this so we can be masters at word problems. So give it a go and have fun with this. And we will review all the answers in the morning. Take care. And don't forget to do your Math Fact Pro. That is super important that you complete Math Fact Pro today.